Right. So today we are going to start one more new chapter called Forex derivatives. Forex derivatives. First of all, you should understand what is this meaning. Forex is nothing but foreign currency. Derivatives. It is a very innovative word and very important word to be understood today. What is a derivative? See, derivative, the word itself indicates that the value is derived. Value is derived. So derivatives is nothing but, frankly speaking, in this session, derivatives is a contracts. Derivatives is a contracts. It means, frankly speaking, it is an agreement between the two parties. Why the people will come to the contracts? Because to protect themselves from any defensive or any risk or any defensive. So here derivatives are contracts used to expose changes in foreign exchange. Used to expose in changes in foreign exchange. So derivatives are contracts used to expose or restrict changes in foreign exchange, or frankly speaking, derivatives gives a shelter against of risk. See, what this against of risk, somewhat, if you go with one more line, I will brief up. Derivatives is a financial instrument, understand, it is a financial instrument whose value is derived. This financial instrument value derived from the value of other assets, which is known as underlying asset, When the price of underlying asset changes, the value of derivatives also changes. So from the given direct point of view, I will explain now. Here, suppose, let us take Kisan. Let us take Kisan. Do you know Kisan company which produces tomato chips? Tomato liquid. Tomato liquid it produces. Tomato. Kisan is nothing but tomato soup. What is it say? It is a soup. Tomato ketchup actually, right word. Tomato ketchup it produces. It is a company. Kisan company. Okay. Here there is a farmer. Right. Here, what is the deal here to make you better understanding of this theoretical part what I am explaining here? If you understand this case, it would be better for you. A company Kisan produces tomato ketchup it produces, but this need a product produced by the farmer. So here farmer produces tomatoes and this Kisan company produces tomato ketchup. Now the fact is, farmer of the company, he is thinking one mode, and Kisan company director also thinking another mode. What they thinking means, at present 1 kg tomatoes are approximately 50 rupees. 1 kg tomato is approximately 50 rupees. Now what is thinking that after 4 months, he is thinking that this tomato price may go to 80 rupees. So here there is a risk to this person. It means that now at present he don't have any risk, but in future he is thinking that, oh my god, in future the tomato price may goes for 80. In this case, the Kisan company has a risk element because 50 rupees of tomato he is supposed to buy at 80 rupees. But whereas from the side of company, the farmer, that the person who is producing now, he is thinking that after 4 months the value is going to come to 20 rupees. So here he is also have a risk, expecting that the value of this tomato is going to come down, and here the value of company may expect to increase. So both the people has a risk. Now I said that derivatives gives a shelter against of risk. Risk means whose party risk? Risk means both the parties risk element. Now what they do means, both the people come to an agreement. Now I said that it is a contract or it is a agreement. This both the parties will come to in such a way that this company may take an agreement with these people that at the end of 4th month I supposed to buy the tomatoes at 60 rupees. This person is going to make a promise that 60 rupees I am going to buy it, or else 55 rupees or 53 rupees I supposed to buy these tomatoes. But whereas this person who is expecting that the value 50 is going to come 20, both the people will come to an agreement. So this agreement is protected at present stock market with SEBI rules. So now you try to understand. Now both the people come to an agreement. This agreement has certain value because both the people, nothing but both the people making a betting. That's enough, frankly speaking. This betting has certain legality. That's why both the people has to make certain contribution in order to keep up their agreement. Now you see, if the agreement is made it with a SEBI or with a stock market, what happened? At the end of fourth months, what happened? The farmer has to sell his tomatoes at 53 rupees irrespective of price. So here he would be protected because the price, if it comes to 20, he will lose 30 rupees per kg. But whereas here he earning, instead of 30 rupees of loss, he is earning 3 rupees profit benefit. So his risk is eliminated. What about here? The company who supposed to buy at 80 rupees, it is a purchasing at 53 rupees. So here both the parties risk is systematically eliminated because both the people come to an agreement, that is called, what is that? Derivative agreement. Now at present, if you see, this is with respect to, I am saying a derivative. It is not exactly mean because derivatives are different types of derivatives. So suppose now let us make it, one share price is there in SBI share price. SBI share price is, now it is moving up to 200 rupees. 200 rupees. This is so far I took a commodity, now I am taking about stock. SBI share price is 200 rupees. I know that the share price is going to down by 180 rupees. Going to down by 180 rupees. Now I will make a betting with the stock market. I will make a challenge that this 200 is going to be, what is that, 180. And some other person behind the same other party, counter party, he may say that the SBI is not going to come to 180, it is going to 280. Now we both the people has a betting. For that purpose, I will contribute some amount, he will contribute some amount. Suppose we both the party contributed, he contributed 5,000 rupees. Let us take for 200 shares, one share is 1 rupee. I made a declaration with the 50 shares. 50 shares means 200 into 50. It means that you supposed to make it 10,000. So here for this 10,000, that one person contributed, one party contributed 5,000, another contributed 5,000. Now you see this, now agreement start to work it out. If as per my word share value starts to decrease, my derivative value start to increase, his derivative value to decrease, because I said this value is going to be decreased. If it is working as per my value, once if at all the value works or agreement works as per me, automatically my 5,000 is systematically increases. If at all share value increases, automatically his value also increases and my value decreases. So finally it is simply a legal bet. So if it works as per the agreement, whose agreement it works in favor, whose that person value increases, and whose agreement works against to him, his value systematically decreases. That is called, what is that? Derivatives. So derivatives is nothing but a financial agreement between the two parties. Both the people has to contribute some amount and they will enter into the agreement in order to resolve their future risk. So these agreements are different types. You have, one is a derivative with respect to securities, what I told just now, SBI, and derivatives with refers to commodity, just now what I discussed, and derivatives with refers to foreign currency also. Suppose I made an export to London worth of $1,000. $1,000 today value is 60 rupees, but the agreement party is nothing but 60 rupees. I took an agreement, but the counterparty is going to pay at the end of 4 months after. How much he is going to pay? Same value he is going to pay. He is going to pay amount in dollar value, but because of fluctuations I may get the loss. Now I will take a derivative agreement to the stock market or foreign exchange contracts. I will take a contract that irrespective of value of that, I supposed to get this much of value. For example, I made an export. It is a 4 months contract. I made it export to the United States of America. This person has to pay dollar to me at the end of 4th month. Now the dollar value is 60. But I am a dilemma that what happens at the end of 4th month he is supposed to pay. So now I will take a derivative agreement with any bank. I will take. So this man has to give $1,000. $1,000 if it gives, at present its value would be 60. But I am a dilemma that at the end of 4th month he is supposed to pay dollar. At the time dollar value may be 60 plus, dollar value may be 60 minus. If it is a dollar value 60 minus, I have to pay a loss. Now what I will take? I will take a derivative agreement. If I take a derivative agreement, this agreement will protect me. So what is this derivative agreement? This agreement says that irrespective of value, at the time we will pay you 60 rupees per dollar. 60 rupees per dollar. If at all the 4th month, at 4 months, if the company, if the US based company pays a dollar, if at all dollar value is 50 rupees, it means that the 10 rupees deduction has taken place. But the bank will pay to me that as 60 rupees. By chance, if the dollar value increases by 80, this 20 rupees income to the concerned agreement agency and they will pay only 80. So frankly speaking, derivative never gives a profit or loss from your business transaction. This transaction would be protected because of fluctuations in your exchange rates. So here there are different types of derivatives with respect to with respect to commodities, with respect to securities, with respect to foreign currency. Here these are not given in your topic. What this topic is explained in this chapter is derivative can save you from different types of risk element. That is the point it was identified. But that's why, considering that element, I am giving it's my own information. It is not related to your syllabus, but at least you should understand derivative means you should have this much of idea. So derivatives is a financial agreement. The value of derivative is derived from the agreement value. So derivatives protects from the risk. Derivatives may be different types of risks, different types, but ultimately all derivatives will resolve your risk element. Right. Now the discussion is history of the derivatives. See, the derivatives is not the current scenario and current instrument. It has its own history. If you observe in early 1970, Chicago Mercantile Exchange is introduced first time the future contracts agreement. It means Chicago Mercantile Exchange contract in 1970 gave birth to this history for the derivative agreement. So first time there are certain people, they came together and they entered into the agreement that gave a baseline for this derivatives. Whereas coming to 1993, derivatives market growth has originally started in 1983, and from there onwards, what is that? Currency option and currency future came into the light. So it means that when the complexity increases in business, automatically in order to resolve that complexity, there would be a different types of mutual agreements will came to the picture. So that is the nature. As business started to grow with the country to country, when complexities increases, in order to overcome that complexities or risks, what happened? Derivatives has become very stagnant instrument at current scenario. So if you learn the derivative aspect, what are the risks you can handle? That's I am going to discuss. The original topic given in your topic is, even though they gave introduction Forex derivatives, just they couldn't touch to what is a derivative, just they gave a one line derivatives. But this entire chapter, what it deals, what is derivative is not the concept here. What are the various risks you can resolve with the support of derivatives? Of course, that derivatives calculation estimation maybe comes to the next part. Even though it is out of syllabus, I gave certain information which I collected from outside. But here you supposed to understand one thing is, if you are a bank manager, don't worry having a risk in business. That risk may be arises, but different environment, but you can hedge it, you can protect it while understanding derivatives. And for that purpose, if you want to touch the derivatives, first of all you should understand what is the risk. In coming chapter also I discussed what is the risk. Risk means uncertainty of return. It is not getting loss, it is a situation to get a loss. In order to overcome that loss, you have to take certain agreements so that your risk can be hedged, not removed, but it should be protected. So here I will give you what are the various risks from that you can save from derivatives. One is exchange risk. Exchange risk means you try to understand the title itself, it indicates that it is a risk arises because of exchange rates. So risk arises movement because of exchange rates, because generally you understand the transaction origin date is differ from transaction settlement date. As on today, if you take an agreement, you supposed to the agreement, the counterparty should not pay entire money as on today. He promised to pay in future. Here the situation is what happens to that exchange rate on that day. So if at all you have a dilemma with respect to exchange rate, your risk can be protected with the derivatives. So risk arises because of exchange rate, that risk is called exchange rate. This is mismatch of expected rate. While doing a transaction, you promise to sell a product with a given rate. You expect the same rate, but when originally it undertakes, there would be a mismatch. You expected what you realized. Both won't come to match together. In that case, whatever the risk happens, that would be called exchange risk. Here this happens because of three reasons. One is translation exposure. Translation exposure also leads to exchange risk. Just now I said home currency versus home currency versus foreign currency. Today you expected 60 rupees equal to $1 because on the day of agreement, and on the day of settlement $1 equal to 50 rupees. In that case, even though this customer, both the parties are very good, because of fluctuation in exchange rate, there would be a changes to get, there is a chance to get risk. That rate is called exchange rate. Second one, translation risk. Translation risk means because of making this exports, you made it an export to all the countries, you made it an export all the countries, you produced all the product, you made it exports. So there is a value of your production, there is a value of sale. But when it originally realizes, its value may decrease, which may fails to recover your investment actually. Suppose your total assets, whatever the liability you raise from different areas, while using this liability or your capital, you converted a product, you made a sale. This is nothing but your investment because you made a credit sales. Here you will have a credits, here you have a debit. So debit should matches credit. But what happens if you expose London, Germany, France thereafter? Because while raising these funds, you produced a product, you made a sale. During the one accounting year, your liability should match your assets. By chance, because of collapsation is foreign dollars, what happens? What happens means, if you compensate all the assets, you cannot pay all the liabilities. So if there may be situation arises, here translation, here particularly one agreement, here total agreements, total assets. So here you made it at different types of investment. You made it investment London, Germany, France. Because of fluctuation in foreign currency value, the total investment value came to the down. See, my personal experience, my son-in-law, my brother-in-law purchased house at United States of America, but he was doing a normal job. But he purchased only in 1990s where financial crisis came into the picture. When financial crisis came into the picture, they don't have a fund. The value of United States of real estate is collapsed. At the time, he purchased. At the time, you see, value collapsed means all the companies face the risk of what is that? Translation. The total assets, they are unable to pay total liabilities. This is also exchange rate. And economic exposure risk. Economic exposure risk means you used to make a transaction comfortably, but suddenly you will lose your market. For example, I will give you a small case study, HMT watches. Once it was very popular in 1970 to 80, even early of 1990s. HMT watches are very, very popular. But after 90, the HMT watches demand is collapsed utterly. And one more case study, the BPL TVs. Once the BPL TVs was very popular, but thereafter what happened? BPL lost its demand. So because of this also, what happened? A risk may arise. Such a risk is called economic exposure risk. So if at all these type of risks also is there, and one of the exchange risk also systematically eliminated while learning derivatives. Now we are going to discuss the one more risk element is settlement risk. Settlement risk itself, the title itself, it indicates it is a risk arises because of settlement. It means that there is a two parties. I am a business and some other person is a counterparty. I made it in a transaction to the concerned party while estimating that the counterparty will pay my due amount in time. If the counterparty fails to pay my money or fails to settle his promise, then the risk arises is called, what is that, settlement risk. The settlement risk you can classify into in brief two manner. One is settlement risk, another one is pre-settlement risk. Settlement risk means what is that? I made it an export to one of the party. This party has to pay on the due date. But I went to him and I asked him, you have to pay the concerned money, this much of money on the due date. This is the time came now, you have to pay. But this counterparty failure during the course of due time to pay my settlement. If this person fails to pay amount for his settlement, then it is called counterparty failure. Counterparty failure, it indicates he failed several reasons, because of his liquidity position, because of its bankruptcy, because of some other reasons. I went up to the date of settlement date, I believe that the concerned party able to pay. But I opened the doors, I knocked the doors, I asked him, you have to pay. But suddenly he raised and he showed a lot of reasons, many reasons. I am saying that he become, what is that, fail in order to make my party, make my settlement. This is called settlement risk. What is the pre-settlement risk? So pre-settlement, settlement, what is the risk? Suppose I made exports to the concerned party. This party has to pay 2 months after. Suppose you take December 25th, he has to pay. But what I came to know that December 20 itself, I came to know that this person became a bankruptcy, liquidated, bankruptcy, liquidity, and he lost the liquidity and he lost the financial capacity. It means that before settlement date itself, it is identified that this person is unable to pay. But I am not waiting for the date of my settlement, but before the date of settlement itself, I came to know that this person is unable to pay my commitments, the counterparty failures before maturity. He may become a bankruptcy because of some other reasons. Such a risk is called, what is that, pre-settlement risk. And another one is a liquidity. What do you mean of liquidity? Conversion of cash. It is a capacity to convert any assets into cash is called liquidity. You see, I have a gold, I have a land. I have a gold in my hand, I have a land documents in my office. So now tell me, which has a liquidity, fastest liquidity conversion? Only gold. Gold has capacity to convert into cash, but land also has a capacity, but not such a fastest manner. So that is called liquidity. See, sometimes company may fail because of lack of liquidity. It means that it is the risk that company unable to meet its short-term financial requirement. Short-term financial requirements are there, I have to pay, but I cannot pay because I don't have a liquidity. See, if I went to petrol bunk, I fill the petrol, but I don't have a cash, but I have a gold. What should I do? Gold is, I have gold in my hand and as a jewelry, but I don't have a cash. Now tell me, cash worth is gold, worth of cash, I have a gold in the farm, but I don't have a liquidity position at present. So that is a risk element to me. If I have a cash, not having gold, I can survive. I have a gold but not cash, but I cannot survive there. So that indicates a risk element to me. That risk is called, what is that, liquidity. Some members, you know, they have a 10 acres land, but they don't have a money to pay electricity bill. They don't have electricity bill. They can't pay small expenses. This small expenses will kills their entire identity. You have a 40 crores property. You have a $24,000. You have a bike and everything. You don't have any cash in your wallet. So in your wallet money is not there, but you have a lot of properties there. It means that you don't have a liquidity. So because of this liquidity also risk arises. Such a risk is called liquidity risk. Liquidity risk means if at all I have a short-term financial commitments I have to pay, I have assets, but through asset I cannot handle, I cannot pay this short-term liability. Such a risk is called, what is that, liquidity risk. Another one is country risk. Country risk means sometimes I made an export to some other party. The party is financially good. The party is psychologically good. The 40 in all aspect is good. But because of the country's political influenced financial reasons, my counterparty, so far called my customer, may raise his hands to handle this one. So that is called, what is that? Country risk. You see the Syria, what happened? Syria, you see, it's very drastic. After a few years back, it was such a wonderful condition. But now, you cannot take any type of transaction. Any type of transaction, you can't take it. So here, Syria, one of the party in Syria is been doing business wonderfully. Now, because of this war element, what happened? That person automatically gets, what is that, bankruptcy or financially failed. And because of that, I may get the risk. Such a risk is called country risk. Country risk also called sovereign risk. This is the risk arises because of government rules and regulations. This is the inability of that government. Their policies makes my client to fail my commitment. Then it is called, what is that? Country risk. Now we are going to discuss few more risk elements. That is interest rate risk. Interest rate risk means it is a very, very interesting topic, frankly speaking. This risk arises, these are the risk arises particularly in the existence of interest bearing assets, typically called assets like a loan, bonds, debentures, etc. These assets value charges due to interest. Let me give you clarity. How do you calculate generally market value of debenture? Market value of debenture is nothing but interest divided by investor expected rate of return. Suppose X person who want to buy the debenture, the market value of debenture equal to interest divided by investor expected rate of return. It means that here you supposed to take interest rate 100 rupees, it is a debenture. You are paying interest is a 5%, let us take 5, and investor expected rate is 20%. 5 divided by 20, get the. So market value of debenture is nothing but interest divided by investor expected rate of return. So you see here, how do you calculate market value? Interest divided by investor expected rate. Suppose interest is giving a 5 rupees and investor expected rate 20%. Then market value of debenture equal to 5 divided by 25% is 25 rupees. It means that at present scenario you can sell the asset for 25. Suppose the company fluctuates its rate of interest, instead of 5, if it is pays 2 rupees, what happens? I will explain here. 2 divided by 20%. In this case, what happened? 2 divided by 20%, the market value comes to 10. It means that I purchased different types of security expecting that the company will pay same rate of promised rate of interest, with effect my market value would be this type. By chance, because of some other reasons, if the company follows fluctuating interest rate, because of that if it reduces its interest rate from 5 to 20, same security value comes from 10 to 10. If at all I have a 10,000 bonds whose current value is 25 and the bank pays 5% rate of interest, if it reduces to 2, 10,000 bonds worth more than 15% value collapses, it 25 comes to 10. So from this practical small case study, what I want to say is interest rate risk means by chance if the government or any counterparty or any company, if they cannot pay a reasonable rate of interest, with effect there would be a drastic impact on market value of security. Once your market value of security collapses, market value or asset value changes due to interest rate. Such a risk is called, what is that? Interest rate risk. If I used to get more and more better rate of interest, immediately my asset value may increase. If the asset value rate of interest is systematically decreases, automatically market value decreases. So this would be called interest rate risk. Another one is operational risk. Operational risk arises simply because of operational tendency of the concerned company. So here operational risk arises due to operational failure. What is the failure, sir? Nothing but let us take procedure, let us take system, let us take people, and another one is internal factors and even the people way of work style. So operational risk means making of document, taking records, making arrangement, response, procedures, rules and regulations. If you consider all these things is called operational risk. So if because of this operational risk also there may be a risk element arises, such a risk is called operational risk. For example, if you won't maintain proper records and there would be a failure of certain pages in document, also not failure, missing of certain pages in documents also causes the biggest loss. Today the one of the case in High Court, in CBI court, they said that one of the file is missed. Because of missing of that file, the case is cancelled. Very worse situation. What if at all such a risk arises in a company? Such a risk is called operational risk. So it happens because of laziness, improper rules and regulations of the company. So that indicates operational risk. And since it is operational risk, it is also, we can say, it is a controllable risk. You can, if you follow a systematic rule, you can control it. And finally, you have a legal risk. Legal risk means it is the rules and regulations laid by concerned legality of the concerned country or concerned section, concerned people. Because of them, if at all risk arises, such a risk is called, what is that? Legal risk. See, legal rules varies from country to country. Because of that reasons, some persons may become, a counterparty may fail to pay certain money because of certain reasons. So far, government has decided such a rules which is very favorable. Government suddenly changed the rules that is unfavorable. For example, I will give you best case study with respect to ITC company. ITC company produces tobacco oriented products. It been doing its business past 20 years. But suddenly last year the government imposed that it made such a rules and regulations which is against of tobacco products. Now tell me, so far rules are not there. Just 1 week back the rules came to the picture. Because of new rule came into the picture. Because of that rule, it may causes risk to any company or company. Such a risk is called, what is it? Legal risk. And this, whenever country updates its rules and regulations, procedures with respect to product, with respect to people, with respect to authority, because of that, if at all any risk arises to the company, that is called, what is that? Legal risk.